Get it? But $200 million movies are also a risk, and it doesn't always work out, but you take the risk anyway. And instead of making one $200 million movie, try making 20 $10 million movies, or 50, right?
So, you don't see these types of movies, get this, getting what it is. Of course, Jeffrey Wright, helped it, get catapulted. But the subject matter is on point. And as I was watching this, I'm like, this is just so up my alley, and I couldn't help. So so I loved it all, but I couldn't help but think it's like, man, these are the type of Latino stories we need. Where it's not always about the trauma trope. It's always about the pain of my people. In fact, this guy, the character is very much, over that, there's other things in life, or other, so that was very inspiring to see, man. Have you gotten that type of reaction?
Without a doubt, it's really smart in that way, because it not only shows the perspective of looking at the plight of marginalized folks, but it just as sharply represents the other side of, like, we're more than that, right? There's more to our existence than that particular thing. But what's interesting is that in, say, Issa Rae's character, who writes a novel that Jeffrey Wright's character really looks down on, it's called Weeze Lives in the Ghetto, and she's just as smart as Monk is. That's Jeffrey Wright's character, and they get into a real sophisticated, honest discussion about what it is that we're doing with our art and with our voices, why, and so her side is also like quite it's quite valid, and so that's exciting also to hear. So on top of this emotional, very specific story of this guy's life at this point in time, and his family and his perspective, he's the protagonist. He's like the one that we're mostly focused in on. You have all these other beautifully realized human beings and voices and perspectives, either with him or challenging him, but they're full and they're realized, and it's grounded in a real way, so that the combination of all those things and the many different things, I think, allow stuff just to breathe easier. It's just in terms of telling the story, and folks who are watching it don't feel like they're being hit over the head, with a message. No. They're just really enjoying the story, and it's also the type of story that, in terms of the movie making of it, is so enjoyable that and humor has a lot to do with this, but I think it's also the honest depiction of everyday life, or the richness that exists within the simplicity of it, right? Like, all of those things, when you're watching it as a movie, this is like cohesive story. You can't help but not only be enjoying it and joyful in it, but also being like, oh wow, like you become enthralled by it, and by the end of the movie, you're telling your friend, and what about that part, and what about that part, and what about that part, So it's also that kind of movie, where you're like, and what about that part, and what about, and that's
everything.
Beautiful way of making a movie or watching one,
That's everything. I mean, it's age old, right? It's compelling storytelling.
Yeah.
And with people that you don't normally see in these types of roles.
Yeah.
We're so kind of accustomed to seeing these Hollywood stereotypes, and it's this, man, I'm telling you, man, I was just, it blew my mind. And yeah, it's funny, but it's
Yeah.
also deeply sad. And then there's hope. I was like, damn, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's really like, it's funny because you say these things and it sounds like cliche, and it sounds like, we're just like, like mouthing off talking points, right? But it truly is all of those things happening at once, and it's so organically mixed into the art of the writing and the direction and the acting that it's not lip service. I'm not lying. It's like all of those things in this like real way that's quite infectious, and I think that's why people are responding to it. And I'm so excited that audiences are going to get to start seeing it and